When you think about retirement, what exactly comes to mind? Travel, more time with family? What about healthcare costs? If that wasn't at the top of your list, you're not alone. The truth is, healthcare expenses are one of the biggest wild cards in retirement planning. So here to break down the biggest misconceptions about healthcare are Laurel and Taylor Stewart, part of the team from Mattson Financial Services, our expert and sponsor, a trusted team in Grand Rapids helping retirees build smarter, more secure retirement strategies. You can also catch them on their popular radio show, Money Mentors. And so what do you think is the biggest myth that people believe when it comes to healthcare costs in retirement?
Yeah, the fact of healthcare costs, I mean, we just saw a study out there the other day that it can be upwards of $300,000. I mean, in general, hundreds of thousands of dollars healthcare is going to cost you. And a lot of times people think if I'm on Medicare, great, everything's taken care of. But it's not. They're still out of pockets.
Yeah, and those can be heavy costs. You know, it can be a really serious expense for people. So what about Medicare and the biggest misconception, misconceptions that surround that with the people that you talk to?
I think, like Laurel had said, one of the biggest ones is, well, if I go into long-term care or nursing home care, Medicare is going to have it covered. Well, yes and no. Only if you're improving, and the thought is that you're going to probably come out of care, then yeah, it's going to help to a certain degree. But again, that's why it's so important to be working with a Medicare specialist, because if it's more of a situation where you're not leaving that facility, it's likely not going to cover the care that you need, and so then that comes. Is going to have to come out of the portfolio. Did we plan properly, and have enough flexibility in our plan to accommodate those additional costs? Because we simply don't know. That's one of the unknowns, right? Can't plan for that, but we've got to have things in place. That way, if it happens, we can obviously take care of that.
Along with what you can't count on or plan on, market volatility, taxes. So a lot of effort and concern is focused in those directions, and healthcare can be overlooked.
Absolutely.
But that's challenging. And why do you think that is often the case, that it gets overlooked by so many?
Because I think a lot of advisors, depending on where they fall with what types of advisors they are, they're really focused on their one solution, right? So I can help you in asset management, and that's what I'm really good at, but I'm not going to talk about Social Security. You need to go talk to somebody else. Or I'm not versed in healthcare. And so therefore, a client might sign up for Medicare on their own and not realize that they've missed other things. Or every year, why aren't you looking at that just like you do with everything else? Your prescriptions probably change. Your health's going to change. And we find that people kind of sign up and you're like, oh, when's the last time you talked to your, Medicare agent? And like, oh, I don't know, since I signed up. And you're like, oh my goodness, Right. But also the income that surrounds that. We had a conversation because a business owner had sold his business and he's just a couple years out from retirement. And we said, well, we really need to look at this because Medicare premiums are based off the last 2 years of income. So you don't want to be trapped now into premiums costing you a lot higher of an amount when we could have done something else to change this. So it's just what you don't know.
Yeah, and what about long-term care? If that is something to consider, do your clients plan for that possibility?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a part of every plan that we're going to discuss with clients. It just depends on what their needs are. There's a lot of great tools out there besides just long-term care insurance. You get that long-term care insurance while you were young, it was pretty cheap. As you get older, you get those premium increase notices in the mail, and all of a sudden, maybe it becomes unaffordable, right? So there's other strategies and other investments out there we can use to help leverage our dollars to pay for long-term care, where we're not stuck committing, hundreds or thousands of dollars a year to a policy that you may not end up using. And if you pass away, it doesn't have a death benefit, right? It can't be passed on to your spouse. And so it's something that we absolutely plan for, but there's a lot of different solutions, and everybody's pretty unique in, when it comes to that.
Yeah, do you ever have clients who say, that's not going to happen to me or to us?
Yeah.
Because remember, a lot of people are planning for a future together.
Yeah, we do. A lot of people too will say they saw their parents go through a situation or a family member and they don't want that for themselves. So they're kind of like, what can we do? And as exciting it is to say, I want the insurance and to buy it, but to Taylor's point, there's a lot of different ones out there, and so it can be very expensive. So making sure that there's a solution that can actually go in a couple different directions, that you're just not pigeonholed into one way to say it's only long-term care. But if we can have something that says, okay, we've had long-term care to take care of you, whether whether that's in-home or at a facility, that gives you some flexibility for what you want in your future state, but also to know that there could be life insurance that goes to your beneficiaries, you know, and something for them as a multi-generation or legacy planning. That can be a lot of, you know, good scenarios too.
Yeah, so how do you make sure that everyone knows about all of their healthcare options and is ready for everything?
Yeah, well, we've got health solutions portion of our business. We've got an agent in-house that I work very closely with because, again, if you retire pre-Medicare age, then we've got the marketplace we have to deal with, and those premiums are dictated by your income. So back to your story about, you know, the advisor says, oh, you can just take 4%, take it out of your IRA. Well, if we've got other assets, we can help, you know, lower that taxable income and maybe save, you know, $800 or $1,000 a month of insurance costs. I mean, that's huge, right? So working closely with our health solution side of the business, obviously the tax planning, working with CPAs, and just tailoring it to those unique people.
Yeah, definitely. So for our viewers today, Mattson Financial Services is offering an exclusive opportunity. If you're in or near retirement and you've saved $250,000 or more, they have a complimentary retirement plan just for you. The team will sit down with you personally to create a customized plan looking at your investments, income, healthcare, and more to help your retirement be as healthy and financially secure as it deserves to be. This is an opportunity that is limited, so call now, 800-536-8907. That's 800-536-8907. Thank you very much. We appreciate all this great advice.
Thanks, Rachel.
Yeah, thank you.
And this segment is sponsored by Mattson Financial Services. We'll be right back.